Okay, so this is worksheet 5.3, some homework help that we're going to do on here. So let's have our worksheet 5.3 out. If you're already done with it, great. If you don't have worksheet 5.3 and you're in here because you've been gone a little bit, might need that, right? So do you have the note packet too? Okay. All right, so on worksheet 5.3, we're going to look at number 2. We're going to look at the front side. This one should be done already, but in case it's not, look at number 2. We can check it. It says for the directions to find the slope and the y-intercept. Well, the slope, that's m. So remember, y equals mx plus b. So all we're learning to do here is we're identifying what m would be, and m would be 6. So check that one, see if you've got it right. Then the y-intercept, that's b. So b is 11. Okay? That's what you should have for number 2. We should be done with that page, hopefully, checking that out. But in case you were gone, haven't got the notes, then you want to do that. Okay, let's jump up to number 9. Number 9, we're being asked to write the equation. So if we look at number 9, it gives us m and b. So really, all you're doing is this idea. You're just going to take out the m, and you're going to take out the b, and you're going to replace them. So if I take out the m, well, what is m? M is 0.4, so I'm putting 0.4 in there. If I'm taking out the b, what am I putting in? Well, I'm putting in -9. Really, it should be this. Y equals 0.4x subtract 9. That's what you should have had for that one. Okay, the next one, we've got an m, we've got a b. Y equals 0x plus 3, but 0 times anything becomes 0. So this one is just y equals 3. So if you look back on the worksheet, you look back at number 5. Number 5, there's no x there either. So that one you should be saying m is 0 on number 5, just to check that one out. Okay? So now, let's go ahead. I forgot to put a couple on here. I did want to do a couple like this. So I want to do number 13. Number 13. Here we're supposed to write an equation. So we did the first 12 the other day, but now we're being asked to write an equation. So the first thing you want to do is you want to find m. So let's verify number 13 again. M equals y2 subtract y1 over x2 subtract x1. So you have to pick one of the y's. Let's remember, the y's are the second ones. So this is a y and this is a y. So I can do it in any order. I'm going to go 0, subtract 2. You can go 2 minus 0, but I'm going 0, subtract 2. Now, since I started with the 0, I have to start with a specific one on the bottom. What do I have to start with on the bottom? So I started with the 0. What do I have to start with on the bottom? 0. Yeah, you start with this one, you got to start with this one. So it's 0, subtract -1. So it becomes -2 over, that becomes a positive 1. So our m is -2. Okay, now, we just did this lesson the other day. And the idea is you have y equals mx plus b. So we're going to replace things. The m we've just found is -2. But we have to take an x and a y. Now, I always recommend taking the easiest pair. The smallest pair up there is pretty obvious. What is it? 0, 0. Okay? So, see, x is 0 here, y is 0. So I'm going to go in here, and for x, I'm going to put in a 0. Now, I could have put in x is -1. But then I'm going to put in a 0 for y, and all that then is plus b. We're trying to figure out b. This becomes 0 equals 0 plus b. If I subtract 0 from each side, it tells me b is 0. So now I have an m, I have a b. Y equals -2x plus 0. that's actually the answer to number 13. Y equals negative 2x. We don't have to put on the plus 0. So let's do another one like that one. Let's do number 16. Everybody good with that one? All right, so 16. The first thing you got to do, you got to find m. So, m, I'm going to take 7. Remember, in the formula, you subtract. So I'm going to start with the 7, and I'm going to subtract the other one, negative 1. So that turns into a positive, and we get 8. In the bottom, since I start with the 7, I start with the negative 8, and I subtract negative 4. This turns into a positive, so we get negative 4. So again, m is negative 2. Y equals m. We're going to fill in everything here except the b. Now how you do it is up to you, but I already know what m is. So I'm going to take the m out, and I'm going to put in negative 2. Now I need an x. So for an x, I can pick this one, or I can pick this one. I always recommend starting with the smaller one. So I'm going to take for x, and I'm going to put in negative 4. Now if I use that for x, the y that goes with it has to be this one. I can't pick this y. I can't pick the 7. I definitely can't pick negative 8 because that's an x. I have to pick the one that goes with it in here. So for y, I'm going to put negative 1. Now I have to solve this for b. Negative 1 equals 8 plus b. I subtract 8. And b is negative 9. So y equals mx plus b. Now all I did is I put in m and b kind of like we did on those earlier problems. Day 1. Okay, so check your number 16. Is that what you got for 16, everybody? Now let's flip to the back. We're going to do a couple more on the back, about 3 more, and then I'm going to let you work on the rest of these. Pretty good here? 17 and 18. It asks us to graph. How do we graph? First, find m. M is 1. I'm going to write it as 1 over 1, and more specifically, I'm going to put it as plus 1 over plus 1. B is negative 2. Now you say I don't have a graph. I need a graph. You can make your own graph. We start with B, and we're going to go down 2 and put a dot, put a point. That's known as the y-intercept. I went down 2 on the y-axis. From there, from that point, I need to rise 1 and run 1. So I go up 1 over 1. I can go up 1 over 1 again, and then I put a line. That's what that should look like. Make sure you're double checking. Okay? So then, number 18. M is 3. I'm going to make it 3 over 1. B is 1. You always start with B. B is called the y-intercept. So in terms of a graph, I'm going to go up 1, put a dot. That's the B. From there, I'm going to go up 3, over 1, put a new dot. Up 3, over 1, put a new dot. I can graph my line. That's the graph. You don't need graph paper. What you need is an idea or the understanding of what we're looking at. Last one that I'll do now, I can do more if you really want one, but last one on this video. 23, a car is traveling at 45 miles per hour. Write an equation that's the distance, D, traveled after 8 hours. If you're going 45 miles an hour, you would take 45 times 8. I want to speed up if you're on the interstate. Interstate speed limit's 80. So, D equals 45H. Now think of this as like Y equals 45X plus what? 0. So if I were to graph this, you would start out at 0 hours. You're sitting in the parking lot or wherever you started out. Make sense? Then the slope is you move 45 miles. So on here, you go up 45 miles for every 1 hour. Up another 45 after 2 hours. And it looks like this. Now, it's not, understand, if we drew it more to scale would be kind of like this. 45 would be way up here, and then 1 hour would be over. It's more like this. You know, if this is 45 numbers, that's 45. Okay? Because 45 compared to 1, it's a really steep slope. 45 in relationship to 1. And that's the idea. Okay? So, make sure you post that to Classroom. Hopefully those at home, if you miss school or whatever's going on, can follow that and get the rest of the video done.